integrated urban transport ecosystem and the next gen infrastructure. This is basically on multimodal integration in smart cities. So we will be talking about integration of metro, water metro, bus and other paratransit systems. The unified metropolitan transport authorities, what will be their ambit of responsibilities and roles, the evolution of digital ticketing, mobility as a service, as a platform, the first and last mile connectivity strategies, and that will have a inclusive and accessible and gender sensitive face. How PPP models are working in these infrastructure projects under the National Smart City Mission, and ultimately the Vision 2047 for urban mobility and infrastructure for Amrit Kaal, where were we currently and what will be the future roadmap. So it's my pleasure to call on stage the panelists for this session. I'd like to welcome Mahesh Moroney, integrated urban transport ecosystem and the next gen infrastructure. This is basically on multimodal integration in smart cities. So we will be talking about integration of metro, water metro, bus and other paratransit systems. The unified metropolitan transport authorities, what will be their ambit of responsibilities and roles, the evolution of digital ticketing, mobility as a service, as a platform, the first and last mile connectivity strategies, and that will have a inclusive and accessible and gender sensitive face. How PPP models are working in these infrastructure projects under the National Smart City Mission, and ultimately the Vision 2047 for urban mobility and infrastructure for Amrit Kaal, where were we currently and what will be the future roadmap. So it's my pleasure to call on stage the panelists for this session. I'd like to welcome Mahesh Moroney, Joint General Manager, Maharashtra Metro Rail Corporation on stage. A round of applause for Mahesh Moroney. Next we have Manu G, Airport Director of Kochi International Airport. A round of applause for Manu G. We have with us Clipson Matthew, General Manager, Engineering and Technology, Kochi Smart Mission. A round of applause for Clipson. We have with us Nikhil Ali, Senior Associate Urban for Center for Public Policy Research. Round of applause for Nikhil. We have with us Nitin Deshmukh, Project Director of Sistra India. Round of applause for Nitin. We have with us Professor Dr. Simi Kurian, Deputy Director of CMS Business School, Jain deemed to be University from Kochi. Welcome, ma'am. Round of applause for. And the session will be chaired by Gokul TG, Additional General Manager, Urban Transport, Kochi Metro.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session on integrated mobility and next-gen infrastructure. It's one of the key areas of interest from most urban mobility providers, that how do we tackle this problem of last mile and first mile connectivity, which probably is one limiting factor as far as the optimal utilization of the metro as well as other infrastructure, the transport infrastructure is concerned. And many studies. So we have a very diverse panel in terms of what they're working and what their core interests are. And but all these, like any urban mobility infrastructure and services, we definitely need a mix of all different sectors that to be have a confluence of. So we have academia, we have policymakers, We have metro as well as air connectivity, people connected with that. And then we have people from the Smart City Mission Limited, where we'll understand what are the learnings from the Smart City Mission Limited was after 5 years of the project, which just recently got over. So a lot of challenges in urban mobility systems, and this is probably a great panelist here to kind of explore this subject with. And we'll be pretty quick because we're already running a bit late, so we don't want to take too much time. But I'll quickly move on to my first panelist, Mahesh. Mahesh, if you can, we both work in metro systems, and we're both concerned with MMT, which is the Multimodal Integration, MMI, which we both tackle. One interesting thing that I remember or I understand is that two different cities, probably same. We have 28.2 kilometer of metro. Nagpur has probably 36 kilometers of metro. Ridership is very similar, 1.2 lakh per day, average of 1.2 lakh. But I mean, the city is different. The requirements are completely different, and it's a stark reminder that you cannot cut and paste solutions from one place to another. So, what we are trying to do with MMI is very specific to Kochi. Unlike Kochi, where the STU was not interested in running the feeder services, and we had to literally invest in our own feeder service, develop our own bus system for this. Nagpur has a completely different system where the municipal bus operations are working very closely with the metro. And I would like to understand what are the key outcomes and learnings, and how this has really helped Nagpur Metro to improve its ridership. Mahesh, please.
Thank you very much. First of all, I am thankful to Kochi Metro Rail Corporation for inviting me and to be a part of this. In Nagpur, there are two transport organizations. City bus service is being run by Nagpur Municipal Corporation. Before 2007, it was being run by a STU called MSRTC. But 2007, it was taken over by Nagpur Municipal Corporation. And this metro rail, of course, is being run by our organization, Maharashtra Metro Rail Corporation Limited. And to have a proper coordination amongst agencies, there should be a single point of authority, and that is why the importance of UMTA is there. But fortunately, we are having a very good coordination with Nagpur Municipal Corporation. And I would like to tell this August gathering that our first phase became operational, fully operational in December 2022. Till 2023, our organization had no separate MMI department. After our new MD joined in 2023, who is an IAS officer, he created a separate MMI department, and our team has been given responsibility. And we are doing some innovative things. First, we are doing Metro Samvads, that is dialogues with, public outreach programs in many organizations. From 2023, within 2 years, we have conducted 500 plus Metro Samvads, wherein we tell everything to the audience regarding the present scenario of climate crisis. We tell the students, if you travel your scooter for a kilometer, what is the amount of carbon emitted? Then what is the amount of carbon emitted through car, tailpipe of car? What is the amount of carbon emitted through tailpipe of the diesel operated bus? And on this scenario, what is the importance of public transport? And all these Metro Samvads helped us to attract more and more people towards public transport. Secondly, we have a very good coordination with NMC, and we have got weekly meetings with Transport Department of NMC. Through these meetings, we could succeed in rationalizing about 17 routes so that they become feeder to the metro trunk. Secondly, as far as micro mobility is concerned, we have deployed e-autos through private players. And presently the system is running on select stations. Out of 38, only 8 stations is having this facility of e-autos. Third step, we have entered into MOU with one company which is basically giving service for two-wheelers, e-vehicles, I mean e-scooters. We are giving space for charging stations. We are giving them, and there is no profit or there is no revenue out of it getting to metro. Only they have to give service to on the designated routes, which will be decided by Maha Metro. And that service also will come in operation within a month or so, because they have already erected the charging infrastructures at 3 stations out of 8 permitted. So we are doing everything for multimodal integration. We are, let me tell you that we have come up with an app in coordination with NMC. This app presently is having the ticketing options of both the transit systems, that is city bus and metro. And further, it will be extended to all paratransit systems also. Secondly, we are going for a national common mobility card, which is already launched by Nagpur Municipal Corporation. Because of some technical difficulties, we could not do it yet. But we are on the verge of doing it. And I am sure that within a month's period, we will come out with a national common mobility card also. So we are working on all the fronts as far as multimodal integration is concerned: information integration, fare integration, and physical integration also. Thank you.
That's great, actually, because all these sector special pillars of MMI is not normally achieved in very less time. What Nagpur has done is extremely interesting to see. Because they have leveraged both the institutional integration, as well as quickly moved on to NCMC cars, and so there is a clear roadmap in which, and they have not been afraid to kind of invest, not in terms of or take in terms of money, but rather than in terms of effort and intent, which can later on have a cascading effect on the ridership. So probably MMI is like building a metro. You really don't look at the cost, but you look at the returns, and that's how it should be looked at. And Kochi, of course, we operate in a completely different model. We own some of the autos, and which is run by a union of drivers, of local union drivers. And there are also other mobility providers, or like independent auto rickshaws, who are taking a feeder license from us to operate from our stations. In terms of, there are also around 1,000 cycles which have been deployed across the city. And we also allow cycles to be taken into the metro cab, so that people don't have trouble using cycling from one at both the last and the first mile. But we also are pretty much proud of a bus system that we have tried to introduce. We have moved away from the conventional bus system, and we have introduced an electric, completely electric AC feeder bus system, which is very small in size, but it's high on impact, I guess. Because right now we are getting around 5,000 to 6,000 passengers a day who actually use that bus services. And what we have tried to do is to connect places which have a transit gap to the metro station. So where there is a potential for scalability, but there is a clear, definite gap which is not addressed by the conventional way of running buses. So probably this is one test bed for kind of trying to understand how this bus system can evolve in a metro, in relation to metro. What we've already also done is to have institutional partnerships. And one of the first institutional partnership that we had was the airport, the Sial airport, and we have been running feeder buses to the from the Alva metro station, which is the last metro station on this phase 1, to the airport for some time now, and we recently replaced all those old buses with complete electric fleet. which we get the maximum number of passengers as well as the revenue, and that critical last mile is clearly provided. For example, if you take a metro from Alua, if you get down at the Alua metro and take an electric bus, it costs you 80 rupees. Instead, if you take a Uber, it will cost you around 500 to 600 rupees. So there's a clear financial gain as well for the travelers, reducing the cost of the travel. But without the support from CIAL, which is what I'm like to move towards to, it would have been very difficult. So it makes perfect sense for institutions like CIAL, like educational institutions like Rajagiri, or we have bus services to QSAT, and then we also have bus services to Rajagiri Hospital, which is part of the burden is taken by the hospital itself. So institutional partnership is extremely important, especially with the numbers you want to get into the metro. So with the airport, it has been a hub of innovation. It's a place where you have solar energy, completely powered by solar, and we used to take some of the energy from them for a certain period of time, where we had one of the chargers at the airport. So they used to give free power for us because it was they were having excess power generated from solar. So that clearly reduced the cost of operation there. I mean, it has been a great collaboration. So I would like to take this conversation to Director of CIAL, Mr. Manu, regarding how they're going to look at, because it's at some distance from, almost all the airports are at some distance from the city. So what are the challenges in bringing about connectivity to an airport, which is so important if you want people to come and use this? Air travel is no longer, it's not done only by rich people. I mean, if you look at the average air passenger, it is completely it is completely changed. So it's not the rich people. So how do you give more provisions and more opportunities for people to travel easily as well as economically to an airport, and both rail connectivity as well as bus? And they're also, I think we would like to hear about the hydrogen bus project that you are already taken up. So over to the airport director.
Thanks, Gokul. Thanks, Cochin Metro and APAC for inviting Cochin International Airport to this forum where most of the people are from metros, I think. Okay, so over to the question. How Cochin International Airport can be connected to the city, because usually now the green airports are coming up away from the city, and we need to think about connecting the city for the better passenger comfort. So mostly passenger travel to the airport means they are looking for a faster connectivity, and if you are spending so much time in the cities, so they will opt for other mode of transport. So it is the responsibility of the airport operator to think to connect the city in a faster mode. So the same way as Gokul rightly pointed out, Cochin International Airport is first of its kind with respect to the sustainability as well. As you know, we are being awarded as the United Nations award with the first ever airport fully powered by solar energy. So we are also very much into the innovations where we are in touch with the personalized rapid transit system, which is almost in the abbreviated form, it is like PODs. And then we are in touch with the eVTOLs, that is vertical takeoff and landing systems, which is electrically powered or hydrogen powered. And then we are actually very much into the seaplane connectivities and the drone connectivities, particularly for the logistics movement. And of course, we are in touch with the metro, where the feeder buses has been operated from Cochin Alua station to any of the feeding station. That is, first they opted and we supported. It has happened maybe 4 or 5 years before, maybe before COVID it has happened, and this is the first time in Kerala that is happening. So with the support of all the stakeholders, including KSRTC, including metro, including the rail, they are very much supportive of the airport operations to support with the last minute touch. For example, we are in touch with the railway. where the long haul high speed train will be having a touch point, because we are being blessed by the railway line touching to the geographical area of Cochin International Airport. So they agreed, because usually in railways 35 kilometer is the high speed train stop. In that sense, after the Ernakulam, other than Aluva, I don't know whether these people are from the Kerala or what is this across India. So after Ernakulam, the main stations, geographically, Cochin International Airport is located around 30 to 35 kilometers. So naturally, without any pressure from our side, the railway opted as a high-speed train stop. So it is reaching to the airport, that our catchment area is increasing to that level. Then now some of the Dubai or Australia or America, it is being connected by, you maybe know, vertical takeoff and landing, where without captain, we can connect to the city. So in India, it is on that particular equipment is on the research and development side only. By next 4 years time, when I talk to these people, within 4 years time, they will be coming with a full-fledged vertical takeoff and landing, where the city traffic may not be affected at all. So you can reach to any of the destination without a pilot. So the per passenger cost will be very less. So that is an option for better connectivity, particularly to the congested cities. And then actually we are also blessed with the Periyar, the largest river in Kerala. It is reaching to the airport. Why can't we think about that head of water for reaching to the airport through water metro? That is also on the discussion. Hopefully, I think the water metro people are in touch, and the design people is reaching to the Cochin airport for a discussion. So I think with a small level of investment and using the natural resources like this river and all, we can make use of this natural blessing to connect to the Cochin airport with the low cost. And then, as I told, the personalized rapid taxi system, where we can have a rail system, but it is a competition to the metro system. But what the discussion, the first initial level of discussion is on, but the per kilometer expenditure, infrastructure expenditure is around 50 crore rupees, where the metro may be costing around 150 crore through the land. So this, but however, the port people, that is personalized rapid transport system people, are in touch. Maybe they are also coming to the picture, where the city, at least in Angamali, it will be connected. And water metro, as I told, it is also being in touch. So with this system, we may be the first airport in the world again to be the multi-modal connectivity, rail, metro, water metro, and port systems with the helipads, unmanned aerial vehicles and manned aerial vehicles to connect to the city. And maybe the first time in the world, we can hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's not just the geographical location of the airport, but it's the intent of the management that you need to kind of invest in multimodal connectivity and explore at all the possible, like rail, road, and then again water. So surely the geographical location helps, but you also need to have a thinking which suits or leverages all this geographical advantages. So great to know that these things are happening. CIL is always on the forefront of developing their own systems. I mean, they invest in their own systems because I think they're coming up with an IT park which is very close to the airport. Then they have a hotel system which is recently developed. So bringing all these things very close to the airport is it's a very good way of minimizing the transport. Well, all of your possible needs are met within the periphery or the region which is very close to the airport, but then have multiple systems like metro to the Alua, and then have port systems connecting smaller places, smaller distances, or even within the airport and the info park area that you have been developing. So multiple options that they are exploring, and I'm sure that there's going to be a great model for multimodal connectivity. So now I would like to move on to Nikhil. Nikhil is a young researcher, and then at the CPPR, which is called the Center for Public Policy and Research. Their main focus is on urban mobility. His main focus is on the bus system, as well as what are the conditions that kind of help integrated transportation systems like UMTA, and how the implications are. So I think the key research that you've already done is on the bus systems as well as the shared mobility transport. Of course, in mobility, the key parameters for choice of that public transport mode is the total cost involved in the travel and the total time involved in the travel. So cost is an extremely important factor for anyone who wants to use public transport. The lesser the cost, much more adaptability will be there. So how do we kind of bring public transport closer to people by reducing cost but not compromising on service levels and comfort? This is going to be the biggest challenge everyone would need to have. And so conventionally it is not it's not very easy to do this because of the laws, and I mean it's a overarching rules that's fit for one fit for all. But how do we need to kind of rethink this UMTA? Through UMTA, how do we rethink each city's inherent requirements and capabilities and advantages? How do we do that? So why in Kerala UMTA has been there from 2019 but largely not functional? So what are the necessities and challenges in bringing out an UMTA, and how would share mobility help to reduce the overall cost of travel and have better accessibility to MRTS systems like Metro?
First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for this opportunity. And I would like to start from first mile, last mile connectivity, because I think that's the pioneer thing when we talk about shared mobility or UMTA or anything. We would have to talk about first mile, last mile connectivity. So I see first mile, last mile connectivity when it comes to MRTS as a subset of overall coverage of the public transport in a city. Because when we integrate all these multiple modes of transport, it in turn adds the coverage of public transport in the city as a whole. So consider a city which has 100% of public transport network coverage. There we don't have to talk about shared mobility or another mode of transport for last mile connectivity. In such a scenario, we just have to make sure that active mobility infrastructure is being laid adequately so that people will walk to or cycle to the nearest transit stations. But that's an ideal situation. And when we come into the real scenario, as the coverage of public transport is reduced, our system should be more flexible towards integrating other modes of transport, per se, shared mobility or paratransit, so that they can cater into the gap between, for say, from the transit station to the end connectivity. I would also like to quote an example which I read recently. In Nigeria, I think, in Nigeria, a city called Lagos, they actually allowed the paratransit system to be played in the BRTS. So particularly for in peak hours, so that they can make sure that a vehicle is available for a common man, and he don't have to wait for too many time, or he don't have to rush into a bus which is overcrowded. So we can think about all those things, because in a country like India, we do have too many regulations. Our system is too stringent. The irony is that even when we are talking about shared mobility and things like that, we don't have we haven't formally identified the conventional paratransit as an integral part of transportation. And how we can do this? Of course, I know that Maha had tried doing something like this to bring out shared mobility as a feeder to the metro system. But as you know, you have faced difficulty in doing this because the system is like that. But an UMTA, we do have an UMTA which is called KMTA, Kochi Metropolitan Transport Authority. If it was in its all power, they could have done it pretty easily, bringing up these shared mobility or conventional autos as a feeder to the metro services. And the funny fact is, all the national NUTP policy, in that it's talking about three modes of transport. One per se MRTS, mass transit rapid system. Then comes the paratransit. Then comes personalized public transport, which means conventional auto rickshaws which runs on hire. So the second thing is paratransit. And this policy was written in 2014. And yet we are talking about this now, and we can't see a shared mobility system in Kochi. I think we should move forward. We should revamp the actual powers to the KMTA so that we can improvise on all these things. And of course, technology would play a huge role in all these things.
Yeah. Yes, I think this is the main challenge. If you look at the paratransit thing, paratransit is mostly viable, especially if it's done in a city area. But our laws and rules are framed for the state or for the country. So how do you look at a local need using the law which is kept for the state or a country as a whole? This is where the challenge emerges. So KMTA in that sense is extremely necessary for bringing this understanding the local requirements and plugging into this. For example, the National Transportation Policy talks about paratransit. Even the Motor Vehicle Act has provisions that state government can make schemes and provisions for running shared mobility and for the improving the first and last mile connectivity. But it ends there. When you talk about the permit system, it has completely different take on what is a stage carriage and a contract carriage. The needs and the definitions are very clear cut. Where the paratransit or the shared mobility exist in between both these, either the definition, it doesn't fit into the definition of stage carriage, doesn't fit into the definition of contract carriage. So probably it would have been UMTA would have kind of make a decision as to where you need to put this. What are the areas that you need to put this? What are the distances that they can travel? They need not actually, they should probably complement the other services rather than compete with other services. So these are all decisions coming from local needs, and that is why UMTA is very, very important to address local issues. And for a metropolitan city like Kochi, it is extremely important that we have that kind of a decision making at a local level to address this. But that said, policies and how you push a policy is an extremely long, it's a drawn out process, and probably the best inputs starts from academia, where the initial sparks are given and then taken up by policy people, then pushed, and then into the service sector, and then use a lot of deliberation, and then it finally moves on to the next step. So here we have a representation from academia, from Jain University, and they deal with the business management studies also. So I would like to ask two questions. One is, how is academia what is the synergy between academia and industry in mobility right now, especially with these kind of challenges? Jain University, you have a digital analytics course, then you have MBA courses. So how's this new research happening at that point? Like, is mobility an important factor in academia as far as at least in Kerala is concerned? We have multiple institutions outside who look at this. But what is your experience in dealing with this? And being the only woman in the panel, and I can also ask, how do you think mobility works differently for you? And we all build our systems for an able-bodied 25-30-year-old man, expecting everyone to be fit into that thing. But how does it change for you? And what are the difficulties that you normally face when you transit and live?
Thank you, sir, for that question. And I express my gratitude to be part of this esteemed panel, to the organizers. So coming to the first question, as you rightly pointed out on the need for a trade-off between the academia and the industry and policymakers in terms of integrated multimodal transportation systems. One important aspect that the academia has a role to play is where we deal with the young minds, and the youth rests in all these campuses sprawling across the city, across various universities and educational institutions. Sustainability as a mindset is a cultural change which our institutions need to bring about among the youth and among youngsters. Talking about the transportation scenario in the city, for the past 1 year, 23-24, if you look at the statistics, close to 61% of the commuters on road prefer to move on the road or by their own two-wheelers or four-wheelers. And less than 21% of people of the total population in the city probably prefer to use public transport. Having said that, in the coming next 5 years to 10 years, the total kilometers that an individual would be traveling for in terms of work or any other purpose, so the average kilometers would be multiplied maybe 3x or 4x times. So, having said that, the need to adopt public transport, provided it meets the commuter requirements, is a very important aspect that we need to think, especially from the perspective of policymakers, from the perspective of service providers like Kochi Metro, Water Metro, and other transportation authorities. So, if the first and last mile connectivity is only present to a certain extent or just present for the namesake, it is very difficult to expect the masses to adopt public transport. So, whatsoever are the advancements in terms of all these transport mechanisms, we will still have a huge chunk of people adopting private modes of transport. So, therefore, one big impediment towards adoption of public transport as the one mode of transport or as a unified mode of transit could be probably the first and last mile connectivity. Now, this is also in light of a recent survey which the university had conducted as part of an ICSSR research project, which we as a team conducted. And around 1,500 water metro commuters were part of this survey. Having surveyed these commuters and we took them across several parameters of sustainability. We used the SUTI framework to assess the sustainability of the water metro service. And most of the commuters were very satisfied when it came to the accessibility, the affordability, the safety and security aspects of the service. But one gray area which majority of them mentioned while the survey was the first and last mile connectivity. So therefore, again coming back to the question, provided there is a mindset among the masses to go ahead and embrace a change in their way, in the perspective in which they look at these public transport services, definitely academia plays a big role in educating people on the need for reducing emissions, adopting more sustainable ways of transport from their homes to their workplaces and elsewhere. So that is where I believe academia plays a big role. And also in terms of the service gaps, when different agencies bring in a different innovation in their services, there again, academia has got certain inputs that we can definitely make. And coming to the second question that you asked, that is me being a lady, what is the challenge that I face or how would I like to commute? Definitely, as of now, I would prefer to use a personal transport because I come from a semi-urban area in the city where I find I would not be able to find a convenienced mode of transport that provides me access from my place of stay to my place of work. So I would not like to disrupt any other of my schedules. And again, had we had access to the transport system through automated service where we can see the availability of different connections at different points of time and plan our schedules in advance, that would also certainly help. But that again, having not been in place, put in place, it is difficult for me at this point to think of using a public transport for travel. Thank you.
So this is one key learnings that we have learned. So the 50% of our bus service, I mean, the commuters in our bus service, 51% to be exact, are women, which is kind of an indicator that you should look at different needs of the gender if you're planning your mobility systems. Otherwise, you're just excluding 50% of your commuters and just looking at the other half, focusing on the other half, because women travel completely differently. They do multiple trips, they do trip chains, they do shorter distances and lesser cost trips. They are caregivers, so they have children, they have old people with them, they do multiple chain trips in a one single trip, so their needs are extremely different. Add to that safety issues, reliability issues, being harassed on public transport, waiting times at the bus stations, which is really difficult for women to handle. This is where the harassment mostly happens, as per a survey that was done in Kochi. Less lighting, bad restrooms. So these are multiple challenges that any transit agency should look at, because otherwise we'll be only looking at the other 50% and expecting them to kind of fall in place and use the services. So we were really happy that when our bus survey that we did, women were opting for the metro bus because of the reliability and safety, and because of there were cameras inside, and the bus was not like, we were not overspeeding, and the crew was much more amenable and friendly. So these all make very huge differences in the way women travel in a city. So probably one piece we've been missing in all the MMI debates is how women travel and how gender plays a very important role in the different requirements in the same system that people use in the same system. So when you look at all this, improving the services and infrastructure, the Smart City Mission Limited for the last 5 years have done a lot of infra push as well as digital infra push, and even Kochi was part of the mission. Cochin Smart City Mission Limited has brought on a lot of improvements to the city infrastructure, both physical as well as digital, and they also have a something called an IC4, where this integrated command control is there, and all the data which probably should be used. My personal opinion is that we are underutilizing that resource. There's a huge setup that is there, and so I would like to ask Lipson, what are the learnings from all these 5 years? Like you have completed the initial 5 years of the mission, and probably you're into this maintenance activities right now. So what were the learnings that you had from these 5 years?
Thanks Gokul and the organizers of this event for inviting me for part of this session. So now we have heard about many of the policy discussions from my earlier speakers. Now coming to the implementation, that's where the real challenge happens. And as part of the Smart Cities mission, I am proud to say that we could contribute to the public infrastructure, IT implementations. We have touched upon almost all the sectors, public spaces improvement. And we are quite proud to say that we have implemented in a very high quality manner and maybe within the schedule. So coming to the transportation sector, also we have done a few contributions. So I would say intelligent traffic management system is one of the projects what we have implemented, wherein we have improved around 19 traffic junctions in the city, wherein which camera-based systems are implemented, and ATMS-based traffic monitoring is happening, and some of the systems like RLVD, red light violation system, and other monitoring systems are also implemented as part of the project. We have implemented around 4 Pelican signal crossing system. That is the first time in the state. Then we have 13 locations with the surveillance system. Other project what we have contributed is a basic infrastructure improvement in the NMT sector. So for when talking about the figures, we have developed around 70 kilometers of roads, and the walking the pedestrian NMT, we have around 120 kilometers. Cycle lanes were 39 kilometer, and junction improvement on 47 numbers. This is on the road infrastructure. And connecting between the mainland and Fort Kochi area has been a major concern in Kochi, and there has been issue with the existing RoRo systems that has been already implemented. So we have contributed towards adding a third RoRo between Waipin and Fort Kochi, and that is expected to come within 3 to 4 months. That is being built by Cochin Shipyard Limited. Another major project, like adding to the this MMT model, what we are discussing is our initiative towards implementing a smart parking project in the city. That is also among the first of its kind in the state. As a first initial step, what we are planning to integrate around 15 locations of Kochi Metro, GCDA about 13 locations, DTPC 2 locations, and Kochi Municipal Corporation about 4 locations. So after completion of the project, we will be covering, this project will be covering around 3,000 parking lots across the city, wherein which you will be able to find out the vacancy of the parking lots, and you can pre-book them and ensure your parking lot while coming to the city. When we talk about when we discuss with the urban planners, this may not be maybe against their policy, but in the current scenario, people would like to travel with their own vehicles, and it's somehow without proper parking spaces, a lot of people are have to like roam within the city for identifying a suitable parking location, and that's leading to carbon emission and other problems. So I generally feel this would be a starter for this MMT concept, and further we can augment into other areas. So coming to other multimodal systems, now for implementation phase, I can say this is a very initial startup for this smart parking facility, and when we think about a full-fledged system, we should be planning in a phased manner, so that initially let us have a journey planner with static data, and we have the various systems already implemented, like Kochi Metro, Water Metro systems are there, then we have the GPS mounted bus systems are there. So next let us try about integrating these systems, and then as a final step let us go for a unified ticketing system. So unless if we try to leapfrog to a perfect system, then may not be successful. So instead of that, we can go plan for a stage-wise progress, and ultimately Kerala is open for the public is generally open to all changes that are coming up. They embrace all the changes very fast. Adaptive system is there, so we will be able to achieve a full-fledged MMT system. That is my talk. And regarding the IC4, as Gokul sir was telling, it's a good public infrastructure has been created as a city command and control center. It has large video screens, internet connectivity, and a platform wherein which multiple applications can be integrated, and we can have a city dashboard wherein which the city operations can be monitored and controlled. We have already integrated this public bike sharing system with the platform, and we are able to see the availability of the cycles and how they have been utilized. So infrastructure is made. Now there are possibilities of using it as in the transportation sector also. As we told, the buses are all mounted with GPS. We can have the public transport monitoring system from the Kochi Command and Control Center. There are n number of use cases. So it's only a thing, there should be a regulatory body like KMTA can take the initiative and take in steps forward to integrating these all public transport systems in the city, and to have a dedicated controls and utilize the control system that has been established. Thanks.
Thank you, Clip sir. So I'll next move to the project director of the phase 2 of Metro from the consultant side, Mr. Nitin Deshmukh. We used to, when initially a sister was setting up shop, so we used to share the same room. So, I mean, he'd be familiar with my rants on this multimodal integration, and we used to keep on talking about it. So my question to Nitin is that now the phase 2 is being designed and it's being constructed right now. And it now moves into a area like Kakanad or Info Park, where there is a lot of generation of trips will happen because the work related trips will happen. You have the civil station, you have the Info Park, so a lot of people will be traveling. But there's also very difficult to get land, as you can see in Kerala. This is unique. The cost of land is extremely high. So Jensen, who's our architect, and I was looking at the space that the DMRC was getting when MAM was presenting, that huge space to develop, and we were probably forced to operate in 12 cents or 13 cents. So what is the challenge that as someone who is doing this project from Metro side, what are the challenges? Because the first thing that gets removed is the infrastructure, which is below the, because you cannot take out the metro station and the track. So whatever next would be the first thing to go would be probably. So how do you integrate this challenge of having a metro system as well as having the space for multimodal integration beneath it, with which otherwise will restrict the use of metro? So what is this challenge? How are you planning to kind of face this challenge and come out?
Yeah, thank you for this organizing this session, and thank you for inviting Sistra. First of all, this is really a big challenge that land cost is more in IT sector, and where the commercial value is very high and it is difficult. So few suggestions what we think is that PPP models. In this PPP model, whatever the land or parking space is there available with the commercial organizations, we have to have tie-up with them, because they are also getting benefited out of our metro, as well as we should try to share the land, so that as many our friends have explained here, that how to increase the footfall. So hanger on spaces that can be coordinated and taken sharing basis. That is one of the point. Another one is how to integrate multi-storied stations, because once you go for only station and other space should be used for other activities, so it is not going to help. Long back it was thought in the Navi Mumbai Sidco that all local stations were multi-storied commercial buildings. So similar kind of things we should explore, and transit oriented development, whatever we discussed before in first session, that has to be strongly implemented, and then only we can do. DMRC already trying that on the pilot basis, that residential, commercial plus metro. So all these things can be combined at one place, then it is going to help a lot. So while residential building is very close to the our metro, then no need to have this last mile connectivity. People will be happy to walk around the station and commute to the next destination. This is what we think is going to help, and already a few cities they have implemented that some additional FSI they are giving to the metro corridors around 500 meters left and right, up and down line. They are giving more FSI, so that revenue generation will be more for the municipal corporation, as well as more infrastructure will be developed along the metro corridor. I think this is going to help a lot.
See, he has mentioned about TOD. I would like to say that TOD in India is still on papers. In Nagpur also, 500 meter on either side of the metro corridor has been notified as TOD zone. But there is no TOD land use plan ready. Unless and until this TOD plan is a part and parcel of development plan or master plan of a city, it has got no value. It should have a legislative backing. Only then the city will be able to develop accordingly. So that is the status of TODs. TOD is a very, has become buzzword nowadays, but it is still on papers.
I mean, I completely agree with that because TOD, for example, for the metro alignment is probably 500 meters for both sides of alignment. But the policies only exist for Kochi Municipal Corporation, which is around 15 kilometers of the 28.2 kilometer that we are running. Only 15 kilometers have a TOD policy, doesn't have a rule as of yet, it's just a policy. And it ends just before this Lulu, the city has shifted to Edappalli, but the TOD ends just before Lulu, which is the other side of the bypass. The corporation ends. It's only 90 square kilometer area. So it's a very small corporation. So if you don't have the rest of the alignment with the TOD policy, not even constituted. So this is kind of a big challenge. So I think it's a more centralized TOD kind of planning should be required rather than ULBs doing it on their own. So a longer policy should be done, but ULBs can have their own independence within that thing. Otherwise, you're planning for your up to Angamali, and then by the time that you're buying up land, it is already taken up by builders because they know this is going to come, right? So TOD needs a long-term kind of an approach and not just an immediate, or a post-construction approach that what we are seeing right now. So we're really running out of time. So I would love to have multiple questions, but since we don't have time, I'll just ask one question, and it's a very common question to all of you. Can you just describe what would you want in 5 years, either you or your organization? What is your goal or what is your dream of, or at least as a common, even if it's as a common citizen, to see what is one thing that you really want to see in the city in terms of urban transport?
Like I said, the first main thing would be the revampation of KMTA, because once that's done, the multimodal integrated will happen pretty soon. At least I believe that. The MRTS as of now is working, and you are trying something, but again, to make it effective, it's always the KMTA who can push it forward. So that's the one thing I would say.
If you ask me to just give you one thing, definitely I will expect a more gender inclusive and gender sensitive design, which should be integrated with all these transit modes, be it the KMRL or Water Metro or even the Airport Authority services or the public bus transport services. And talking about gender sensitivity, that to an extent, I will not say that it is not there at all, but to an extent, it is largely still, there is a gap in the service. And as I mentioned earlier, the gaps in the feeder services would be the next biggest area where I think I would like to see some kind of an improvement in the city.
As I already told in my discussion, like my intention would be to have a fully integrated multimodal transport system in the Kochi, integrating the public as well as the private transport system. Like now I am using a Uber for commuting from my home to office. The same system should be there. So I will enter my destination and my hometown. So I will get a list of modes and should be able to pay at a single pace and travel in that mode.
Unified payment and trip.
In the next 5 years.
Hailing system. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So my appeal to the community who are here for the policymakers as well as the other industry people is that in the next 5 years we will be having a digital, particularly artificial intelligence regime coming up. How can we integrate the digitalization to the support of the urban mobility with respect to the passenger comfort and the safety and security of the passengers as well, whether the CCTV systems or the other systems can support the passenger with respect to all these, including the business continuity or with respect to the comfort of the passenger, even the airport, the passengers will feel more secure or more safer. That has to be supported by digitalization is my intention to say just now.
See, there are four pillars of smart city, I would like to say. One is city should be a lively city. Second, it should be safe. Thirdly, it should be healthy. And last, it should be sustainable. And as far as sustainability of a city is concerned, transport plays a very important role. 40% of the carbon emission comes from transport sector. So I would like to see my Nagpur as very sustainable city with more focus on NMT infrastructure, because in 2000, early 2000s, Nagpur had undertaken IRDP project, Integrated Road Development Project, and that is why today Nagpur has got wide roads. That time was the best time to take care of the walkability and cyclability of a city. So I would like to see my Nagpur as the walkable city, because when there is a wholehearted invitation to walk in the city, that is the most sustainable city. Thank you.
Yeah, down below 5 years, I want to divide it in two parts. First part is that Cochin, whenever passenger comes or tourist comes by air, so our metro display is very less. So as soon as passenger arrives, there must be awareness. Many people doesn't know even this Kochi has metro system, and the passenger bus service is available in Sial. So CL is doing very good in all sectors, but display of metro is very less. So within 1 year, the display should be there, which says that this city has metro and we should utilize that effectively. This is first. And 5 years down below, I think phase 3 connectivity with baggage drop at many places. This at least 5 to 6 stations, JLN or baggage drop is possible at metro station. Then automatically people feel that, yeah, we already boarded that aeroplane. So that I'm seeing that my dream, Kochi should have that. Sorry. And last one, it is again dream. More than 15 years age vehicles should be out from the Kochi, especially diesel vehicles. That is my dream. Thank you.
Thank you, Nitin, for pushing my case with the airport authorities of displaying more displays. So please take note of it, sir.
Yeah, many times I traveled.
Yes, he spread my case.
Yeah,
So, thanks for that.
requested my vehicle to stay back, and I used this bus system.
Thank you.
But many times I feel that there is no board at all. Nowadays, at least 1 or 2 boards are there. So I request CL to place at least 10 displays for metro. Thank you, sir.
Quick answer for that. See, because now we have got our around 650 car has been given for the evictees of the Cochin International Airport. So there is, of course, there will be a conflict of interest where, but however, as far as possible from our side, airport operator side, we helped Cochin Metro to operate feeder bus, as I mentioned earlier. We are the first airport, I mean, first in this kind where the feeder bus is being operated to that destination, that is airport only. That is, we take it up with the government of Kerala to have that, point-to-point connectivity. So the local bus operators are very conflicting to that. The KSRTC is making a huge hue and cry against that. With this all, we permitted the Cochin Metro, and even it is reaching near to the terminal, both the terminals. Yeah. So it is very comfortable for the passengers, and now, and we gave electricity free of cost at that time, 2018 to 22, at that time, and even 23. And if you see the number of passengers using that metro buses, it is almost like 100%.
Thank you, sir. My gratitude for all the help that CL has always done. We really look forward to more such associations from your side. And now, since we are short on time, we'll wrap this up. My thanks to my fellow panelists, the audience, and the organizers for convening such an important and very interesting panel. My learnings I take from this panel. Thank you again, and over.
Gokul TG.
That is a
Clips.
uh,